welcome back to Kenton and Habiba. Welcome to Wisdom Fridays.
It's stuck in volume.
I don't know why it's stuck in that volume thing. I don't
Oh,
know, maybe that's just coming on, but let's see. I don't think that's, can you guys see a volume thingy? I don't know. Maybe let's ignore that. We'll just ignore that.
okay.
Anyway, we are on another Wisdom Friday. Welcome back. We're trying to get it together. We're on a little later than normal, technically, but our goal is to try to be on here somewhere after work because he has to get off work. So, what is it? It's about 6 p.m. now, a little
Yeah,
after 6.
I was working a little late.
Right. So welcome. Announce
Sorry.
yourself if you're on. Welcome. And do you see a volume symbol? I hope not, because from my side, we're seeing like this weird symbol that, like the volume side. Anyway, hopefully you can hear us, you can see us, and you're having a great day. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. All right, so I don't have a number of questions, but if you saw the title, you're like, what are they talking about? Did you see the title?
I didn't see the title. I don't even know what you were talking about. So folks, I go into this a lot of times blind.
He goes into this blind. I basically set him
Hey,
up.
Kenya. That's great. Welcome. Hi,
Hi. So yeah,
Georgia.
if you saw the title, it says fake relationships or our fake marriage. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Our fake marriage for YouTube.
That's what you put on there?
That's what I put on there. But that obviously, our marriage is real. But right? Yeah, obviously
Hey,
our marriage is
Patricia.
real. But anyway, I just wanted to give us a quick
Yeah,
update.
really fake.
What did she say?
No, I said it's real. It's really fake.
Oh, right. Quick update. How has
Hey,
life
Faith.
been going now that we have been empty nesters for the last 2 weeks?
I don't know. You tell me in this fake marriage. I don't know what's real anymore. No, I was busy. I was extremely busy. I mean, that's
Right.
the thing. It's just, with so much going on and, with work and school and, projects, and you're very busy working on your book and stuff. So, I
Right.
mean, it's just, been extremely busy.
So do you miss the kids?
Of course, I miss the kids. Of course.
Right. It's
But I'm
different.
also happy for them too. I'm excited, that they're at least trying to have some normal in this, crazy
Right.
pandemic and try and make the best of it. So that's all we can do, right? Try and make the best of
Right.
what we have. And I
Right.
think, but again, with faith and and a belief in each of your own abilities and stuff, and prayers for everyone, we can make a way. So with positivity,
Right.
even in fake marriages. I don't even know why
Why
what's
did I
going
say
on.
that?
I don't
And
know.
hopefully you can hear Kenton, right? Because sometimes I don't know why he speaks so softly. And he is loud. He's not really that a soft speaker. So I don't
I
know why he comes up here speaking so soft.
I am a very, very
Kenton, they cannot hear you.
quiet person.
You are not a quiet person. Stop playing like you quiet. Anyway, someone asked a question about has the children's absence, now that the children are no longer here and we're by ourselves, how does that change our marriage, or how does it either
Hey, Pam.
deteriorate? It's fine. You can read the responses. Now you see how I feel, huh?
I'm trying to do you.
Exactly.
Because,
Exactly.
trying to be
Good.
real.
Exactly.
I'm acknowledging the special people out
And
there.
you should, and so you should.
Because I'm trying to make you happy in this fake relationship.
Anyway, no, seriously, someone asked, does your relationship deteriorate or change once the kids have gone?
Well, they just left. How quickly does it go south?
It could
can.
go south real quick.
Well,
It could go south real quick.
I could. I mean, but then it was going south to begin with. You just never really noticed.
Right,
Many
right.
times that's what happens. Not. It's like a slow death.
It's horrible.
It's a slow. No, because over time, if you don't connect and try to, for lack of a better word, replenish the well. You gotta
Yeah,
you
it's
gotta
growth,
invest in
it's
each
work,
other.
right.
Yeah, it's because people, we all change, and change is healthy, but you gotta change together.
Right.
Doesn't mean be the same, but it's just, grow and appreciate each other over time
Right.
and so forth and celebrate and so forth. But a lot of times what it too is that to celebrate each other, many times, relationships, yeah, they can face the challenge of getting stale because again, if everything revolves so much from the kids and that you forget about each other and then
Right.
and once the reason basically the glue that holds it
Right.
together. That's why a lot of times you see marriages will, yeah, exactly fall apart right after the kids, go to school and stuff, and then you'll see, there'll be a spike in separations and divorces,
Right.
stuff like
And
that.
I think a lot of times the couples, it really also, to me, depends on how you started. I feel like there are a lot of couples, especially younger people, who get together and they don't really get to know each other. They sort of get together really quickly. Everything happens so fast. They get married, they have children, everything happens so quickly. Then their energy is focused around the kids, and then the kids leave, and then you're looking at each other like, who is this stranger? I don't even know you. Like, who are you? What do we have in common? All we had in common were the kids. Now the kids are gone. What do we have in common? So you're either looking at a stranger or you're looking at someone you didn't properly get to know from the get-go. And why are you looking at me like that?
I'm listening to what you're saying.
Now, for those
You're
of you
making points.
yeah, I'm making points. I know I'm making points. But seriously, for those who don't know, Kenton and I were actually together for many years. Yeah, we actually didn't have children for like 6 years, right? I mean, into our relationship. So we had a lot of time to get to know each other.
Because your grandfather would murder me. What are you
My
talking
grandfather was very insistent that I finish school, that I do what I needed to do to get my career started. And so I was really terrified actually to get to have children, to get pregnant. All I thought about was, oh my God, grandpa. But the point is that
Me too. I thought that too. Oh my God, Grandpa.
the point
this
is
little
we had
Jamaican
time
machete
to
coming after
foster
me.
the relationship. And so I can actually remember spending a lot of time having a lot of fun before the children. And even though I absolutely love being a parent and have enjoyed being a parent, and obviously still am a parent, I can see how we enjoyed each other's company before the children, and hence we will enjoy each other's company afterwards if we don't kill each other.
Yeah, well, that's why all the knives are dull. It's hard to do. We got some dull knives. in
And
the
see,
drawer.
let me tell you honestly, like when the kids are here, when we argue, or if we fight or we argue, usually I kind of hold back. I really am. I'm the type like, I'm very conscious of the children's presence and I don't want to upset them. I think it's very important, when you have children, and this is a different subject slightly, that you avoid fighting and having huge altercations or arguments in front of the children, because sometimes they don't know the full scope of the argument and they don't see you make up either. They only see you fighting, and it can be very distressing for them. So my point is, whenever we would argue or would get heated, I tend to fall back because of the children. But now the children are not here to save him. And so when I have something to say or I'm upset, he's going to hear it.
No, stop. You know what? It's never stopped you before.
What do you mean? No, that's what you think.
No, that's what I know because I'm at the end of the discussion. So.
Well, no, I would talk. We would do what we need to do
Stop.
privately or away. No, I would not go full crazy in front of the
You've
kids.
been full crazy.
No, I do not go crazy in front of the kids.
Okay, well, when we have the kids back on break, let's revisit this, and we'll have them.
You can do it. Ask them whatever you want.
Sure, fine. I will.
No, my point is sometimes you go full crazy, regardless
Because
of who's there.
Well, I'm a little
Right?
crazy. Yeah, but full crazy just means that I say what I say. If that's what crazy is. So maybe I'll be like, but that's it. It's just like,
But anyway, to be honest, I just
is
feel
that full
like
crazy?
no, but I feel like now that the kids are not here, that's one thing that I would say is a little different. even though we honestly have not been fighting. So that's good.
What do you mean fighting?
Well, I mean, arguing or having whatever heated discussions, we really haven't. We've been actually fairly nice to each other. What you mean?
It's the same. Nothing has changed. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what it is? Because of this title, fake marriage.
No,
stuff.
no, 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 no,
Nothing,
no, no.
nothing has changed. So
Well,
it's
nothing
like,
has changed, maybe, but what I'm saying is, I would have thought that maybe them not being here, we would start fighting a lot because that's what you're hearing.
See, that's your
because
expectation.
of the pandemic, and also because of the children not being here, that we would get tired of each other.
That's your expectation.
No, that was not my
But that's what
expectation.
you thought. I didn't think of those things.
All right, what did you think?
What did I think?
Yeah. Tell the truth. What did you think?
I don't know. I don't think much anymore. I'm so like strained with everything. I don't have that much room right now juggling with school and work and stuff like that. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really think much. All I know is, yeah, kids here.
Well, also, how you hear sometimes couples stay together because of the kids. And then when the kids leave, that's when, the whole option or thought of, oh, I can leave him now, divorce, because the kids aren't here to keep us together. So why am I here?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying
Why are
that
you here?
obviously for me personally, because
Why am I
Kenton
here?
is my best friend and I
Oh,
choose to be
Lord,
with
you
him,
just-
whether the kids are here or
This
not.
is so fake. See?
No, it is not fake.
This manhandles me.
Right. So, did you answer the question? Does our relationship deteriorate or change once the kids are gone?
What are you talking about? I don't even say deteriorate. They just went to college.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like,
No, but comment below. Don't you know of people whose marriages have dissolved or have gotten really, rocky roads since their kids are no longer here?
it happens. Yeah, it's understandable. And, again, like I said, I mean, relationships is work,
Right.
as you can see. And so, you have to spend the time. And it's like anything else. It's communications work. Whether you even communicate in marriage or in dating or in
Right.
just even in friendship. I mean, you have people that fall in and out. And part of it is just, being able to have these crucial conversations without, escalating into, unfortunately, into livid disagreement. I think the key point is that even if you have a disagreement, we always come back. It's like you got, and sometimes that can be challenging, is to separate the issue from the person.
Right.
I mean, if you make it very personal and then it becomes vitriolic, then it becomes very difficult to get across that communication barrier. Because again, at the end, it's about valuing the relationship. If the relationship is valued higher than the issue, that doesn't mean you don't stand your ground on something that you feel
Right.
very important.
Right.
Say like, and some things are bright red lines in a relationship, like drug use,
Right.
thievery, stuff, things that are just like, but we all have
Right.
we all have some, little transgressions here and there, you make a purchase that you didn't confer with your partner or whatever, you went out with your buddies or she went out with her friends and you weren't aware of it. And sometimes, those kind of miscommunications can create the
Right.
issues. And so you got to work through those things,
Right.
or anything else. But at the end, if the relationship, again, values, then you work to make sure to bridge those things out. And again, we're all imperfect in some way. It's just as long as you're not
Right.
doing
But no,
things.
so honestly, we've been really good. We've been actually pretty good.
I mean, well, we all.
We're all we have at this point. That's how I look at it. We're
Jeez,
we're
is
what
that-
we
that's how
got.
you look?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
That's all
I
we
mean,
have?
well, I mean, not like that, but the sense that we have to support each other if we want this to work.
Well, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
I don't like going to bed angry. I avoid going to bed angry, and so it's like,
But my caveat is that I don't prefer the word have to. I prefer I want to.
right.
See, I that's just a little nuance I would
Sure.
throw in there. I want to make it work. It's not I
Right.
have to.
No, I don't
But
have to. Right,
I
absolutely.
mean, you don't, and I think that's also the difference is that I think that every day,
Mm.
I need to also invest into the relationship and earn that,
And not take your
be
partner
worthy of that love. Yeah, and not take your
granted,
partner
which a
for
lot of
granted and
people
stuff like
do.
that.
She'll
So,
always be
yeah,
there.
yeah.
He'll always be
That
there,
doesn't mean you
right?
make yourself a doormat either.
No,
But the
absolutely
thing
not.
is, it's like, Khalil Gibran wrote it, in one of his poems, is that to be worthy of love
Mm,
is to be giving,
mm,
and just like, and faith belief is like, he who gives receives. It's the same thing. You have to be giving, and then by creating that relationship of giving and being able to receive.
right.
So it's that kind of dynamic.
All right, so why the title? The title
Yeah,
actually had
why?
nothing to do with us personally, kind of, but I've been seeing like this trend on YouTube where there are especially younger people commenting on the fact that there are all these couples channels. Like if you notice, there are a lot of couples on YouTube that have channels. Not as many as people who have single channels, meaning a person who has just their name on the channel. That a lot of these couples channels, people are saying are fake. That a lot of these marriages are, quote, fake. Maybe some of you have heard of like Ken and De'Ara. They're a very famous black young couple. They're breaking up. There was a few years back, Domo and Chrissy. They're this lesbian couple. She's a musician. They were, it's like these people that you may not necessarily look up to, but maybe you were entertained by. You've seen them for years, grown up with them on YouTube for years. Nikki and Jamie, for example. You remember Nikki and Jamie?
No.
I mean, I really liked them. They're Australian couple. They broke up, divorced.
Who are these people?
Well, they're people when you're on YouTube or you watch YouTube
I don't-
channels, he doesn't, but I do, clearly, and I have for years, right? And so there are these people that you watch and you're like, damn, this is so sad. They broke up. And then you come to find out some of them stayed longer in the relationship because it was a business arrangement. I do think that a lot of them were together initially because they did care about each other. They were, in my opinion, probably real, or what they thought was going to be a real relationship. But over time, just like in real life, especially when it comes to young people, they broke up. Now, I personally don't feel like all relationships on YouTube are fake. I certainly know that our relationship isn't fake.
So,
And the challenge is when you put out all your personal information or the ins and outs of your relationship. Like I would say, like our channel is not really a couples channel per se, in the sense that when we say couples channel, for a lot of these people, they show like when they are not only happy or joyous, but they're showing like when they fight, when they argue, everything, every little intricate thing. Remember that, what is that girl, Latoya? Y'all know Latoya, right?
No.
Like, I think I showed you the clip with Latoya where they're arguing and she puts the camera in front of her husband and blast it to the world, all their personal stuff while they're having this deep heated, relationship. I mean, I think that's inappropriate.
well, it's inappropriate, but again, it's that whole reality TV shock
Right.
value approach, and it works. I mean, they get millions of views.
Well, eventually, when you do really break up, though, you got to break up that channel because YouTube, if you're not together, you have to actually break up that channel. And then you get lawyers involved, and
Yes.
then they have to. What is
Yes.
she saying?
No, I'm just saying yes. You get lawyers involved.
So my point is, I think to the young people out there, you got to know how much information to share on the internet.
That's why you gotta get those agreements signed.
When you start showing everything you're doing in the bedroom, how many times y'all are having sex. I said that for you.
No, but
Or just getting too personal,
But
then
that's-
it will interfere with your relationship.
But that's the trade-off. I mean, you're making a decision. It's just like anything. It's like you're making a decision where again, like we talked about before, it's like the relationship, and it's about values. If you value family, you value relationships and stuff, you're going to make decisions as to what you protect.
Right.
Right? Okay. So life is that those are the trade-offs. And so if you determine that, this is the product, or this is the brand, or this is what you're going to put out there, and you choose that, just like some people choose to do pranks, some decide to do more
Right,
documentary type, some do more information, some do more disinformation,
right,
misinformation channels, whatever way. But all those things then dictate the things that you're going to do. So if you're choosing a reality TV, you're choosing, an approach, and the system feeds into it,
mm,
you're getting rewarded for
right,
it monetarily, and also in many ways, not just money, it's also ego. It's also, there's a social reaffirmation of, like you say, you're throwing out names like these people are like neighbors and stuff. I don't know these, but that's what I'm saying. It creates this psychological, attachment, like, oh, I'm somebody, I'm doing something. And in some ways, yeah, you're,
mm,
but then what it is now, you're becoming a public figure. And then
right.
when you become a public figure, you have less rights to privacy per se. You also are,
Although you're still in control of what you put out,
well,
because if you
yeah,
didn't choose to
well,
put that crap
no, of
out,
course, they're not
right,
victim. They're not
right,
talking
you're
about victim.
definitely
You're
not a
choosing.
victim.
But see, again, like I say, if you try to do something that may be a little different, you see your views go down. You see,
Mm,
again, it's like you are feeding into the system,
right,
and now you're going to be part of this grind, this thing,
right. You
and you
feel
already
like you
know.
have to keep doing
And
that
there's an
if that's your
algorithm
thing.
that feeds into it, that
Right,
also directs the way it gets viewed. I mean, it's intentional. There are intentional mechanisms that go into this. It doesn't just happen willy nilly.
right. But again, like I said, I think personally that if you choose to go on YouTube and you choose to put, your family out there, yeah, you do have to be
Yeah.
careful what kind of information you're sharing. What did the
Well,
lady
one of them
say?
actually made a good point, because there are some. This is even more controversial at this
Mm,
point. Some of them are bringing children into it.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, now you kind of get into kind of that
Right. The minors, the
yeah,
babies,
now it
right.
starts. And again,
Well, which is why, thankfully, YouTube has started to, honestly, for those people who have young kids that they show them a lot, if you'll notice, some of those channels, you can't leave comments anymore. You can't actually leave comments. Sometimes those channels are demonetized, which is very upsetting to people who were making money doing it. But you will notice that for many of them, there are no comments allowed anymore, because sometimes those comments are hurtful or bullying, for the family or for the children. But I think it's okay to show children if, for example, you don't show their faces. Like you'll see people who you've been following for a while, they've had a baby, and then they choose not to show the baby's face, or they choose not to show the baby's, yeah, appearance, but they have a child and you might see the child's body. Because, yeah, the child does not have is not able to give consent,
yeah, that's really
and
what
may
it is.
not want to be part of that life.
Well, it's not just one, because they're unable to give consent, because
Right,
they're minors, and so the
right,
same
right,
thing why in the courts and stuff, we protect children's identities,
right. What's going
their
on with the,
rights.
did it freeze? Can you touch it?
No,
Just touch it. I don't know
oh,
what's going on there. So yeah, excuse us. I don't know what was going on for a second, but we paused. All right, I think we're back. Let's see what else I got.
yeah,
Oh, this one's interesting. I saw this. This was like a mini video or a meme or something. Or a statement this lady said, and it was basically the statement that says, "How do you tell a loyal woman? How do you tell a loyal woman, or yeah, a loyal woman in a relationship? A loyal woman in a relationship, and I'm going to probably misphrase this, but a loyal woman in a relationship is someone who stays with you even during your poorest moments, even during your worst moments. She's still with you, she's loyal. Now, how do you tell a loyal man? A loyal man is a man, you tell a man that's loyal based on how he acts when he has money. And I thought that was interesting, how he treats you or how he acts when he has money. You get it? Like,
no,
you don't get it?
because I don't have money, so I don't know.
No,
I
but
don't know.
like a lot of men that cheat, not to say that all that men that cheat have money, but
Men
to
cheat.
be honest, usually what drives them or what usually instigates it is, I don't know, their level of confidence or what they
Nah,
feel
man,
they
men
have
cheating.
now that they have money.
That's ridiculous. That's all part of that. Again, that going back to that high value man stuff. That again, a man's value tied in is to money and stuff.
I think culturally, yeah, that's what
Men,
society.
it's just to say, oh, because a man. See, what it is that also that statement there also shows some level of insecurity in regards to men who have money. Because what it is, the assumption is that a man with money has more
Options or thinks
options.
he has more options.
Well, he thinks or does because again, if you got you know partners that are looking for high value and their valuation is just based upon what's in the bank account, yeah, that's going to create options because you're going to
Right.
have people that are going to approach you more often. But poor men cheat too. I mean, cheating is cheating. I mean, women cheat. I mean, the bottom line is people cheat, and what it goes down to again is that people cheat for a whole variety of reasons,
Right.
right? So it's not, a lot of it is because they're not honest with themselves and honest with the relationship. A lot of times is because of an inability of creating intimacy. They got married because that's the expectation,
Right.
or that hey, this is who they were when they got married, especially if they got married very young at
Right.
18, and then now they're in their 30s and they become like more aware of what they prefer or not prefer, and their partner, and instead of saying like, okay, I mean, maybe I need more of a timeout, they go ahead and
So what's a timeout in a marriage?
a divorce
Do you,
or
no, seriously,
separation.
y'all know what is the timeout in a marriage? Can you want timeout and you're married?
Well,
Or what does that look like?
well, I mean, it can look like different things. I mean, but let me think about it for a second. So let's
Because
see.
some foolishness.
So here, if I go to an island and I then spend some time.
Yeah, what if like I was like, hey Kenton, you could take a timeout for I don't know, a month, and whatever happens during that month, wherever you go, we won't talk about it. I'll forgive you for whatever you do. What would you do?
Right now, if I did right now,
Yeah.
more of the same what I'm doing now, school and work. That's the sad part, is that I really don't have that much on. So I have to think about. But see, that's the thing. It's like.
I wonder what would the average man
You know
want to
what?
do.
No, but see, this is the thing. The thing is that it's really about it's really about accessibility. See, because the thing is or options.
Is that what we just said? Options,
Yeah,
right?
but that's the thing. If you create those kind of options, it's like the interesting question is like, can men be friends with a woman and just be friends versus say a woman, can she be friends with a man and just be friends?
I used to ponder that question because I would say a lot of my friends or people that I've connected with are guys. And I used to ponder because I once heard that two people of the opposite gender can never really truly be friends without knowing that at one point or another, one of them was attracted to the other. And I've thought about that, and I was like, it's probably true, but what's more important is whether you act on those feelings. I mean, if you can choose, I think you can be friends with the opposite sex or with the opposite gender without it being, anything inappropriate.
Well, as long as you have clear boundaries in your mind. I mean,
Right.
that's really what it is. I mean, because let's be frank, you're friends with people because there's something about them that attracts you to
Right,
it. Most of the
exactly.
time, it's because they reaffirm that you're great. So you're, so
Not necessarily, I don't
no,
know.
at some level, they sit there and be like,
Or they share certain values. Or
right,
they
which
share certain,
reaffirms that what you're.
refers are great. I don't know.
That's a very cynical way to look at it.
Right,
I'm just
I don't know.
but I mean that's cynical. You're right. That's cynical. But we tend to gravitate towards people that reaffirm our value
Right,
systems
right.
and our interests.
Right.
I mean, of course, you don't want to be friends with someone that says like, oh, what.
Well, how
what you
about
like is
this? I
crap.
can't be friends with people who are ugly. That sounds so shallow. That sounds so shallow. And that has nothing to, no, I've heard people say that.
Oh, okay. I was
No,
gonna
I've
say,
heard people say
well,
that. You know, you can't be friends with people who are ugly. And I'm
but
like,
you know
that
what?
has nothing to do
But
with
but
interests
see,
or
but see
commonalities.
that's sad
Well, that's because
because
those two people are probably shallow.
but no, but it's not even shallow. What that shows to me is that that's someone that's afraid that they don't want to be perceived as ugly, so they want to surround themselves with other people that they perceive as beautiful, which then makes them beautiful. It's actually just in a sad way reflects more on them.
Right. That's why
And
I
that's
say a
really
lot
what
of
it is.
shallow
And to
people.
sit there and go like, "Oh, I'm gonna be friends with someone that's ugly." You know what? It's like, and that's man, really people say that.
Yes. Yes.
It's
I've heard that.
horrible.
Yes.
That is a horrible.
Yes.
But that's a sad way to look at the world. It's like beauty and ugly, and it's almost like
And it's very skin deep, you know. I mean, you're right, because that's all superficial. I mean,
no, but yeah, no, that's ugly. You know what? That's ugly in spirit. See, I would caveat and say like, I'm not friends with someone who has an ugly spirit.
right,
I would
right.
prefer that because
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I was just actually explaining to the kids, one of the kids the other day before they left, I was saying, sometimes there are people that you'll see that people perceive as attractive, and yet there are people who may have physical abnormalities or physical things that have happened to them, like say burns, or accidents. And what happens is you meet them and you get past that physical and you realize they are beautiful people,
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
stop actually seeing their physical. Like, I mean, I'm sure all of us know people like that, where you can't even describe what they look like, or you stop seeing the outside. All you really see is the inner beauty that they project. And so, I was just telling them that it was very important to really get to know the person and try to look past a lot of those physical attributes, because for all of us, we get old, those physical attributes change, or God forbid something bad happens to us, or we don't wear makeup like today, we look pretty regular schmegular. And all of those things are very superficial, and how important it is to really get to know people, for who they are and for their values. And I don't know how we end up on that discussion, but
I took us kind of there because you start off with that, I'm friends with ugly people. I'm just like,
Right,
people,
right.
and the thing is, again, that's more of a reflection of
right, their
of individual-
insecurities.
but insecurities and fears and stuff like that. But it's like, again, that's that value system. It's just like, oh, I can't be friends with someone who's poor. It's the same thing. You can create all kinds of stuff. Oh, I don't say, but it's sort of
That's
just
true
like,
too.
but again, you're equating
People who say that.
yeah, equating, but it's like, no, again, it's about the, but then it goes to the other issue is that, okay, all aside, then how do you find people, that value the spirit versus the material stuff? Or versus anything else.
Right.
And that's the kind of part of the challenge of dating,
No,
even at
right,
an older age.
right,
because,
right.
having been,
I think it's also how you're raised, and how a lot of you're raised. I mean, I hate to say a lot of, depending on where you were raised or how you were raised, and in this environment with social media and this generation, I hate to say that there are a lot of superficial people where we put so much value into brands, into how good you look and whether you're wearing Prada or Gucci or Chanel and all those things. And those things are nice, but we start to put more value into those objects. And so, we're teaching our children that, hey, date someone who has the Mercedes Benz versus this other type of car. I mean, you know what I'm saying? There's like so much put into material things and objects instead of people and values and experiences.
Well, in psychology, it's also, again, it's where your affirmations, are your self-worth, is it external or internal? And so if you're like you say, if you're raised or you're exposed
Right.
and reinforced into a value system that reaffirms and validates an external model,
Right.
that means that, excuse me, that everything that you do has to be validated from outside. So that means you got to have external praise for
Right.
your own self-worth. And then unfortunately that leaves you very vulnerable towards bullying, towards being basically, in a sense, codependent, where you're codependent on a relationship, where you're codependent on society, because
Right.
they have to tell you, well, if you're this or that,
Right. Your value
you're
is
right.
put
And again, this
into
is
this.
different. This is, again, we're talking about, again, the psychology of dependency and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that it in any way alleviate societal oppression and stuff. That's a whole different dynamic that goes on. But we're talking about an individual, the
Right.
micro level of of interactions and stuff like that, versus an internally driven individual.
Right.
And you can develop these things, because you could live in a toxic external affirmative
Right. People do
environment,
change.
but you do change, because it starts off with intention and awareness. And that's the beauty of the human mind and spirit, is that
Right.
ability to be reborn. Again, going back to faith based traditions,
Right.
and that's an internal spiritual rebirth. And it's the same thing as being able to say, hey, I can reaffirm myself, and develop without having to hear and say, someone else has to tell me that I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of respect, I'm worthy. No, those are inherent values,
Right.
and that each and every one of you deservedly so. So yeah, that's
Right.
it. But it's finding someone else, though, in a relationship, just like you said, like two wings on a bird, that could balance those things.
Right. That's
And
why
that's
it's
the
really
hard part.
important. It's really
But that's
important. I will
hard.
say, yeah, who you date, who you marry, who you basically plan to spend your life journey with. I'm also looking at it as a parent. When I think of my children and who they eventually date or want to marry, it's like you want to make sure you're sharing certain values, and that it's not just superficial. Um, that those values basically coincide with yours, because if not, y'all are gonna have problems, and then you end up with those so-called fake relationship or a miserable life.
Mhm.
Right. But anyway, I brought this here jar. Y'all see this? Y'all see this? What is this? For those who don't know, comment below. What is this? Someone say, what is that?
So that's she's talking about, some people lust rather than appreciate.
That's true. But yeah, this I just wanted to say is a reminder that this is a good time, if you haven't, to soak your fruit. But also, this is about the time where I start to get a lot of like emails or messages about the cake book, which I'm still working on, and also like the recipe and how to soak your fruit for, the cake. Jamaican rum cake or Caribbean rum cake or black cake. So I just wanted to say that, yes, go ahead and start doing it even before this book comes out. But what I'm going to try to do is link in the description box, once we're done here, 2 videos that I did in the past about how to soak the fruit, because people are asking what rum, what wine, where to get the fruit, what to use. I'm like, man, I did a video several times. I've done videos. I'm just going to link them below. And so for those of you who have questions, you can find it. But yes, your girl is working on this cake book. It's definitely, like everything else, it's a lot harder or a lot more detailed than I thought. It started off as just a little pamphlet, and now it's like turning into not just an ebook, but possibly a physical book. Trying to get it edited, trying to get it proofread, trying to make sure that the pictures look professional, trying to make sure there's no, typing errors or, yeah. But I'm also very thankful for all of those that have reached out to be part of the launch team that are going to help promote the book once it's out, and also for all the people that have, offered their editing expertise, because yeah, you actually do need a professional, not your mom or dad or your auntie, to read this. What's kind of cool, y'all don't know, is Kenton hasn't even seen anything that I've written. None of my family has seen any of the things that I've written, because I wanted outside input, professional input, because your family is always going to tell you, oh, that's great, or that looks nice, or whatever. I want to make sure that
Yeah,
people
right.
not related to me can appreciate the book. So the only person who's actually seen anything I've written is Miriam, because she's a fairly good writer. So I've had her kind of proofread a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Outside of that, everybody else has been non-family or non-related. So that's all I'm going to say about that for those of you that might be curious. Um, and then another issue I was thinking is just to kind of check in. What do you guys think with how the world currently, of course, we're all dealing with COVID, the pandemic. I
There
don't
you
even want
go.
to say it, the whole variant and being safe, but now the whole flooding and tornadoes and stuff in New York, you know, the US, Afghanistan. We don't even have to get into all that, but it just feels like so much is happening. And I don't know, yesterday I found myself feeling like this feels like the beginning of the end. Like,
Uh,
is that pessimistic or what?
no, I mean, again, those feelings are understandable. I mean, a lot of people, and again, thoughts and prayers and so forth going out. But also more than that, if you can, if you do have any availability or means, you can donate supplies or stuff to the Red Cross, also to families suffering from the hurricane. For those that are interested, or in regards to the Afghans and Afghanistan, and also for some of the Americans that are still trying to get back, if you want to contact, again, your local representatives and so forth, and see if there's ways that you can help, either in sponsoring or any ways that you can think of to help in any different ways, because there's more than enough issues to provide support for, and also just support, also the frontline people, the nurses, doctors, healthcare providers, workers, as well as teachers, who are just caught in between a lot of these issues and so forth,
Right.
and and at the very least, check in on each other, and not just families, but there's people who are alone and are hurting that you may not even realize. It could be, someone who's living alone, or even someone who's physically challenged, that they just can't get around, and they're
Right.
trapped in their house and they're isolated,
Well, think about like the whole trapped in the basement issue. A lot of the people that passed away in New York were people who lived in basements. And if you know anything about New York City, a lot of the houses were are these sort of multi-level, different generations or different people that have rented out homes. And a lot of the people who tend to rent the basements tend to be people who don't have a lot of money, or a lot of times immigrants. I mean, when we first moved to New York, we were in my grandparents' basement because that was the cheaper part of the house. That's what we could afford. And so it just breaks my heart when I think of all those families. Like, there was a story of a lady, she was like a speech therapist that went by the house just to check on this family because they have a special needs son, that she comes to teach every day, and she like shows up, and that's when the police tell her that the whole family died, like the whole family, drowned in this basement. I was just like, I was just sitting last night just crying, like, oh my God, what is going on? Like, this is just crazy. um
Yeah, so
anyway.
that's why it's important that, again, we check in on each other, and provide support, even if it's distance, but even a simple email and stuff, and just even a simple video, just like to say that, you're not alone, and that if you need anything, just reach out, and even if it's something as even to us, just an email, because that's the whole point. Because either way, we all are in it together. And
Right,
and
even though
sometimes it sounds
sometimes
a
it
little
feels,
cheesy because they
yeah.
say it so much, but we
Right.
really are. We're connected, and we are one family, which is humanity. It's just that sometimes when so much is going on, we withdraw, because that, again, that's to kind of try to manage the pain and the disconnect. But the most important thing is to take that breath, to acknowledge that, yes, it's okay to feel anxious and have anxiety, but then to one of the things is to then to take a moment and whether in meditation, again, depending upon, what faith tradition you have, meditation, prayer, is to take that moment and to be still
Mm.
and to acknowledge, but then to again think of the blessings and promises that are given to us,
Right,
and then
right.
to think of things to be grateful for, and then from there, from that sense of gratitude, then we can then build upon that to
Mm.
create a way to say, how do we build more?
Like I've even thought like, it's been a long time since we've been to church, right? And I know for those of you that might be Muslim and you feel offended, like, oh my gosh, she said church, she's not Muslim. Invite me to a mosque. If you invite me to a mosque, I would go too, right? But I don't remember the last time females were necessarily invited to mosque. But anyway, point is that right now, if you invite me to a Buddhist temple, if you invited me to a synagogue, if you invited me to a mosque, I would go. Now, the other thing too then is then my mind goes to, oh my God, people together, COVID. Do I really want to do that? I mean, it's just, I
I
don't know. How are y'all feeling about that? Worship
well, I think
in groups.
yeah. Well, I think again, this is where each individual makes that determination upon themselves, and there's no right or wrong.
No, there's no right or
Right.
wrong.
Okay. So then,
No,
if,
no, no,
but-
no judgment
no,
here. There's no
exactly.
right
There's
or
no judge.
wrong.
Okay. So if you begin with that point,
Right.
then you
I'm
then,
just saying how I feel when I
yeah,
have the
right.
anxiety.
But again, that's what I'm saying. You acknowledge that, but the point of the matter is that it's about moving forward. And so if church gives you that peace that you need to physically be there, if it's safe for you, then partake. If not, you can have church within. God is everywhere. So you could have it in a closet. Early Christians or any faith,
Right.
aloneness is not a bad thing. And Christ went into the desert.
Mm.
See, that's the thing. I think part of it is that we look at that where we have to be with everyone, but God speaks to each of us
Sure.
in the moment.
Sure. But there's this balance because also as human beings, we are these social creatures.
We are
and
social.
We crave
Well,
connection.
yeah, but it's both. But see, it's
Right.
both. I mean, and that's the thing. But we also have a tendency to tilt too much to one to the other. So it's that balancing. And sometimes, again, that's where part of being still is incredibly empowering. That's just the thing, because sometimes there's like that thing, running in place. Don't confuse activity as
Right.
progress,
Right.
right? Because you're just running in place. I'm working, but is it truly progress, or is it really you're running in place? Same thing with the mind. It's like you have to train and develop the mind to be still and be reflective and
Right.
contemplative. And that's where you carve out that time for yourself. That's part of that self-wellness, self-healing, is to then shut all that off. Sometimes that's the thing.
Right.
Turn off that news. Turn off the YouTube.
Right.
I know, right? You gotta turn it off.
Why? Why?
No,
Give
no,
them an
but
example. What is
just
it I'm
like you said,
doing?
you're making yourself anxious.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
Excuse me for a moment as I talk to my wife, honey. You
What?
gotta turn that YouTube off.
Right. Okay, Mr. All-Knowing Kenton.
I'm not all knowing. I'm just
All
telling
right,
you. And the only
Mr.
reason
Calm
why
Kenton.
I'm not calm, and the reason why I can say these things is because, just like anything, I can tell you, like riding a bike. I've fallen down enough in life that I can tell you what not to do because I've done the wrong things.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not telling you from like these gurus and stuff. I am far from it. That's the whole point. The whole point is I'm just telling you, just a regular Joe, that just lives your life and you
Right.
make mistakes. I'm no expert. I'm just telling you that, take a moment. I don't sit there and profess anything.
So, wait, let me ask a question.
Well, go ahead.
When was the last time you felt anxious?
Right now, when you're asking me questions,
Okay.
it creates anxiety. When you're writing these things I don't even know about, fake marriages.
Because,
And I'm like,
because I know you can handle it. You're fine. All right. When was the last time you cried?
I cry all the time.
Oh,
I
I'm proud
cried
of you
about
for
it.
actually saying that because most men would not admit that. Most men see crying as a weakness. I'm proud of
I
you.
cried at our wedding.
I'm, I'm not talking about
I
our
said,
wedding over 30 years ago. That's not what I'm talking about.
I
I
said,
said, when was the last
I said, I'll
time you
never.
cried? The last time you cried.
When I eat vegetables.
Kenton, stop playing.
There was no meat. No, last time I cried.
Yeah.
Last time I cried. Well, every once in a while. I mean, last time. Well, when again, that's why I turn off sometimes the news. Oh, there was a story from the flood. Um, when from the hurricane, where a
Right.
woman sacrificed herself to save her neighbors, and she was in a public housing. I told you about it, and it choked me up. And she had a disabled son, but she was going and banging on the doors, and they were in Section 8 housing. And the thing is that in the country, especially in the South, Section 8 housing looks like these brick homes, but they're very simple. But
Right.
they're these modular
They're
brick
not
homes.
high rises.
But they're not high rises,
Right.
and usually they're many times they're located in below elevation or in
Right.
floodplains, and
Right.
basically land that's very cheap because
Right.
they're
Bad
they're,
land,
yeah,
right.
they're usually the
Prone
bad
to
land, prone to
flooding.
flooding, prone to sewage problems and stuff like that. Because again, it's just cheap land, and so last to be sold. Anyway, she was going around knocking on the door, and I mean the water was so high that it was pushing cars out, and she was going out and she's telling people they need to leave, they need to leave. And this woman and her son, they got out just in time, and they were driving away before the flood wires were coming in. And she saw the woman that she was still going around telling people to leave, and then she drowned. Her and her disabled son survived, but her adult son, but she didn't make it. And then, yeah, so I teared up about that. There's things that I tear up about, and so those are things like that, and of course, anything with the kids, with
Right.
you. So,
When the children aren't here initially.
well, yeah, sure, because again, it's part of the process. Is again, childhood and then going to adulthood and stuff like that, and those transitions, that.
Right.
But again, that's part of accepting vulnerability, and
Right.
yeah. So
Anyway,
So
how
what was the
long would
point
be-
of that?
I just wanted to know, since you were
you
keep
put me
telling
in-
me about how I need to manage my
I
anxiety.
didn't
was
say
just
you
wondering.
have to. No, see, I didn't say. I didn't
Well,
say
or
have
how
to.
to manage my anxiety. I was
yeah,
just
just
wondering
give out-
what it is like when you're vulnerable. That's all.
What it's like, it's pretty awful. That's what it's like.
How long we been on here?
Too long. 'Cause
No,
you're
seriously,
abusing
how
me.
long? I can't see up there.
Yeah, long enough. So, but I think it's important because again, like I say, it's not about you got to find something that works for you. That's the thing. It's all about personalizing, the processes or the
Right.
tools, so then they become healthy habits, and then it becomes a way to help you manage. But sometimes you got to turn that off.
Right.
and-
All that stimulus,
No, it is. It's too much. You go, and a part of it is also just the technology, like the phone. I mean,
Right.
it goes off, it gives you alarms, especially if you have it where, like, anytime news comes on and you just bing, 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 and it's just like, and
Right.
so that's why you gotta, like, get.
But don't turn us off. Definitely come back here
We're-
every
we're
Friday.
24/7.
No,
But
just
no, but
come
you
back
gotta,
here every Friday.
Yeah, but you gotta take that 30 minutes, to just.
Yeah, hopefully we
Be
make
still.
you laugh.
Whether it be a bubble bath or whether it be a walk,
Yeah.
there's such thing as walking meditation.
Right.
You know?
We're actually going for a walk when we leave you guys, because it's a little cooler now, which is interesting how like we suddenly went from hot as hell
But it's
to
gonna-
almost feeling like fall.
But it's gonna pick back up.
Right. This is what they call the fake fall of the
Yeah,
South
it's fake fall.
before we go into
Another second scorcher.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. But you guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I think this is a good place to end. What do you think? Definitely leave some questions in the comment section if you would like us to answer for next time. I don't know if we'll be doing this next time, next Friday or not. I'm not sure because we're actually might be traveling, right? So we may or may not, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, we might do it. Depends. Yeah, it
Do it
depends.
earlier,
Or
or
we
do
might
it in
do
the
it because
car.
we'll be in, in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia. So we might do it. No, I think we'll be there. So we
Oh,
might do
really?
it there. Yeah, because
Right.
we do it anywhere. So we'll just be in a different location.
Okay. All right. Well, you heard it from him. Look out for us next Friday too. And of course on Sunday, I'm going to upload a vlog, a family vlog. This one is us taking the kids back to college or to university.
What's this? The fake family?
Yeah, the
fake
fake family.
family? How do you
No,
know
there's
my
no
kids?
fake family. The kids that you
Man,
helped bring into this world.
I have not had any paternity tests.
Right.
I demand
Do we need
a
a
test.
paternity test for y'all to see that
I
those are his
want-
kids?
I want paternity court.
Right. For Miriam. Yeah, I brought that in.
No, Khalid.
Khalid? What's wrong with Khalid?
What's wrong? Nothing wrong with him.
Right.
I want-
Dominican Republic, right?
No.
That's what you're about to say.
Costa Rica.
Oh, yeah, right. Costa
See?
Rica, right?
Oh, yeah, right. See how you're
right. That's right. I made out with this really good looking guy in Costa Rica and got pregnant and then told him it was his kid.
Boy,
Absolute foolishness.
what a story. See?
Yeah, absolute
You heard it
foolishness.
here, folks.
Anyway, Kenton, we got to go for a
Abiba.
walk.
Now you're
Thank you guys for watching.
Now you're going to see me cry.
And see you on Sunday.
Thank you, guys. You're the best. Be safe and be blessed, okay?
All right, you want us X out? Usually I X out, you X out.
How do I say?
You see the X right there?
Oh, that's what you mean. I don't know this stuff. You're talking YouTuber language. I don't know X out.
Right
All
there.
Take care.
All right, I'll
bye.
X out. Bye.